and still only has one shade, which is absolutely banana nut insane. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I am so excited for today because today we're talking about clean beauty bronzers. Also, the lighting is a little bit insane today, so if it's going all types of crazy, I'm apologizing now. But I'm so excited we're going to be talking about clean beauty bronzers. I have a bunch of new ones we're going to be talking about today. We're going to also be talking about some old ones that we have talked about before on this channel and kind of compare and contrast. And at the end of this video, we're going to be talking about my personal favorite and the one that I keep grabbing the most right now. And yeah, I'm very excited to get into this. You know, bronzer has been tough because I feel like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s kind of time, when bronzer, you know, really started becoming big, not that it wasn't big before, but I feel like it really started to like have a surge. They were a little bit orange. They were a tad orange, and they were really like just one shade. It wasn't really an inclusive shade range at all. And now what, you know, the products I'm going to be talking about do for the most part have an inclusive shade range, which makes me really happy to see, because you know, we got to be inclusive. And I am excited because we're talking about powders and we're also talking about creams. And I'd like to know, actually, are you a powder or a cream bronzer user? Which is your preference? Because I feel like people tend to be like one way or another, but then there's some people that do really like to use like a mix of two, like depending. So I'd love to know that. But yeah, I feel like the shades also have gotten a lot better since, you know, the early 2000s, mid 2000s, where everything was, again, a little bit orange, looking a little Oompa Loompa-y, looking a little bit like a Cheeto.
Are you happy now, David? Is this what you wanted? You look like a cheese puff.
You know, like not cute. And yeah, I just want to jump in and get into this clean beauty bronzer video. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's jump in and talk about clean beauty bronzers. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So I got a bunch in front of me here and I just want to like grab and go. I want to talk about the ones I haven't talked about on this channel yet first, and then we're going to go into the ones we've talked about before and kind of compare and contrast, if that makes sense. And then at the end, we're going to be doing a nice little roundup where I talk about my favorites and all that. All right, first, I want to talk about this one. This one is the Kosas bronzer, and the shade I wear is the medium shade, golden bronze. And I believe that there's 3 in this. There's one lighter than this, and then there's one that's like a deep color, which is freaking gorgeous. Which makes me really happy to see that there's like an inclusive, like for a deep complexion. I don't know if there could be like maybe a few more shades in this range, but I'm like really, I like that there's like a, you know, a good range for like different, you know, complexions. So this is the bronzer. I love the packaging that Kosas has been doing. You know, it feels very just like early 2000s Lisa Frank, which is just, I'm freaking obsessed with. But this is the bronzer here. Sorry, the lighting is just unbelievably crazy today, so I hope it doesn't look too crazy on camera, but it might. This bronzer is really interesting because it has kind of a baked bronzer vibe. It's a more radiant finish. It's definitely not matte. If you do not like products that have like radiant finish and shimmer to them, then you probably won't like this, just because this definitely, you know, would, if you have texture on your cheeks, will accentuate that texture because it does have reflex in them, but it's not glittery. It kind of has, again, that baked bronzer look. If you've ever used the ambient lighting bronzers from Hourglass, or even the Milani baked bronzers, it kind of has that similar finish. This is really beautiful and really just melts into the skin. I actually really like this bronzer. I think it gives me such a beautiful bronzed up look. This is freaking beautiful. I love this. I love the way that it blends. I just go in with a fluffy brush and like blend it out. And then if I want to pinpoint a little bit more, I'll go in with the Sephora, I want to say 96 brush, but I'll link everything I'm talking about down below. which is a little bit more pinpointed to get a little bit more of like a precise application. But this is freaking gorgeous, and this layers really beautifully on top of all types of foundations, skin tints, all of that. This is so pretty, but this definitely will give you like a glowy look, which I personally love for like this time of year. Especially like sweaty time of year. We're all going to be doing it up anyways, but this is really good. I like this a lot. Okay, next, you know what, let's talk about this one next. Let's talk about the Ilia bronzer. So the Ilia bronzer, what's the shade that I have in this? The shade that I have in this is Novelty, which they originally only had 2 shades, but now they have 4, which I freaking love to see that they just added 2 more shades to this. So yeah, this is the shade Novelty. I believe it's like 1 lighter than this, then Novelty, and then 2 more, I believe, on the darker side, which I love to see. This is a more matte, this is like a matte bronzer. What I love is it comes with a mirror. I know not all, like this doesn't come with a mirror, but I do really like when stuff comes with a mirror, especially for when I'm traveling. This is an amazing bronzer. It melts into the skin like the Kosas one does, but this one is more on the matte side. So if you prefer a matte bronzer, she is really nice. Again, just melts into the skin. If you've ever used the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula, which I will be like mentioning that bronzer a lot today, just because I like to compare my powder bronzers to that, especially if they're matte. If they're not matte, I don't really think it's like a fair comparison, but this kind of melts into the skin like that one does. And so does this Kosas one. It just, again, like melts into the skin and looks very much more natural, although it's a powder. It's really interesting. This is also a beautiful undertone. Like if you are more olive toned, this is like gorgeous. It really looks really nice. It doesn't look orange. It wears really nice throughout the day. So does this one. But again, if you have texture on your face, this won't accentuate the texture. This lays down gorgeous, wears beautifully all day. And comparably here, because I know people compare these 2 brands a lot, the Kosas and Ilia bronzers. This is a preference thing because there's not one that's better than the other here. I will say it's just what your preference is. I'm like obsessed with these. Okay, next I want to talk about this one. This one is a doozy because she is $58. This is a Victoria Beckham bronzing brick, and the shade that I have in this is 03. I believe there's 03, 02, no, 03, 02. There's 01, 02, 03, and then I believe 04, 05, and maybe actually 06. So the shade range is actually really nice, and it comes with 2 shades. So you have like a warmer shade and then a more contour shade. And I really like this. So actually what I personally like to do is just mix these 2 together and just blend it on my face and just create. It's just so pretty. It melts into the skin just like these 2 do. It doesn't look like heavy powder on the face. I like to just fluff. In general, I just like to fluff bronzer all over my face. I don't like to necessarily pinpoint as much unless I'm trying to create a little bit more of a, I don't know, tailored look. And then I'll use my Scott Barnes 65 brush. I should have brought it out here, but I didn't. And that I can kind of create a little bit more of a chiseled look. But this is beautiful. It wears really nicely. It is very expensive, and that's just what I want to say. I believe that both of these here that I've talked about already are either $32 or $34, somewhere in that range. But this is definitely a hefty price tag. The component is really weighty. It kind of just clips shut like this, and you just pop open. It has a really beautiful design on the front. So if you're the type of person that likes, you know, their products to feel luxurious in terms of weight, you would probably really like this, because this is actually a really beautiful product. I like that it comes with a mirror. I think for $58 you've got to come with a mirror. So this is really nice. I really enjoy it. I really like the shade range. I think it looks beautiful on the face. It wears really nicely throughout the day. It doesn't wear off patchy. I will say all the bronzers I've talked about so far today do not wear off patchy. They wear really beautifully on top of like other liquid or cream products. This is really nice, and I like this because it just, all of these so far give me like a beautiful, healthy glow to the face. It gives like a nice dimension to the face. These are really nice, and I actually really like this. And I will say again, if you like luxurious products or luxurious feeling products, this is a heavy, weighty product. You'll probably really enjoy this. I really do like this. Okay, next. Okay, you know what? Let's talk about one I've talked about like 1 million times on this channel, and this is the Arrive bronzer. Now, this was my favorite bronzer. Like, I grabbed this the most, I would say, out of all of them. But what I don't love about these bronzers is that they only have 2 shades. And so, like, this is the darkest shade. I mean, who? Like, this is the darkest shade. This is the shade I wear. It looks beautiful on me, but I don't think if you're a couple shades darker than me complexion wise, it'll probably look nice on you, but I don't think this is going to work on like dark skin or deep skin, which is really a miss. I mean, we need more options, but this is a nice bronzer. Again, I would say that this is comparable to the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. I would say all of these kind of melt into the skin. The ones I mentioned so far melt into the skin like that one does. I mean, Physicians Formula butter bronzer is just a cult favorite product. So it's like, and it's one that everyone has used, or for the most part everyone has used, because it's so accessible, because it's not just at the drugstore, but it's at Targets, it's at Walmart's, and it also is affordable, which is nice. This wears like that. This is a really beautiful bronzer. I love to just fluff this all over the face. Again, it melts into the skin. It doesn't sit on your face like powder, which I really like. This is a matte finish, just like the Victoria Beckham one and the Ilia one, and it looks really beautiful on the skin and wears really nicely all day. Okay, next. Okay, you know what? Let's talk about this one next. I'm going to finish doing powders first, and then I'm going to go on to creams. So this is the LYS Beauty Bronzer, and the shade I wear in this is Courage, which is like their tan shade. This is really, really nice. So I actually really like this for me right now. It's a little bit dark for when I don't have as much of a tan, and you know, when I'm sitting inside all day and like haven't seen sunlight in months. This is a little bit too like dark for me, but this is beautiful for right now. I'm freaking obsessed with this. Wears beautifully on the face. Love that it comes with a mirror. I love when components come with mirrors. I know it's not always like, people don't love when products come with mirrors all the time. It's just more recyclable when they don't. But I do like when products come with a mirror for travel specifically. Outside of that, I could be careless. Like, I don't need a mirror all the time. But this is really nice. I love the component. I love, you know, the shape of the LYS Beauty stuff is just so cute. This triangle. And this wears beautifully. It is so pretty. I really, really like this one. And I'm actually really impressed so far, like, as I'm going through this, like how nicely all of these bronzers like melt into the skin, especially if you set it with a setting spray. It looks gorgeous, and this is no exception. This shade is beautiful. I love their shade range. I believe that they have 5 or 6. I believe that they have 5, and this is the middle. Actually, no, I think they have 6. But this is one of the middle shades. This is really, really nice. I like it a lot. Okay, next, I want to talk about the Lawless Beauty Bronzer. And the shade I have here is the shade Blazed. And I believe that maybe there's 2 or 3 other shades. No, there might actually only be 1 other shade in this. This is definitely dark. Like, this is dark for me, and it's very, very warm. They have another one, which I had, and I don't know where it went. That is the one that I grab more, the lighter shade. But this is actually, this is the last powder bronzer I have, and I will say, comparably to the other bronzers, this isn't my favorite. This is still a great bronzer. I still really like it, but I do find at times it will skip and kind of apply a little bit patchy. Not all the time, but it does kind of have that. I also don't necessarily love how warm tone that this is, and that there's only, I believe, I mean, maybe they have added more shades since I've ordered these, because I ordered these a really long time ago. But that they have like one super, super warm one, and one that would kind of be more of a neutrally warm, is more wearable. This is a little bit orange, and not dark, but just the pigmentation on these is super, super pigmented, or at least this one is super, super pigmented. So when you apply it, it's not, and it like kind of skips, it's not as easy to blend out, because occasionally it does skip, then it can look a little bit patchy. But this is still actually really nice. And again, the way that it wears in terms of the Physicians Formula butter bronzer is it melts into the skin the same way that that one does. But when I compare it to these other powder bronzers that I've been using and testing, this one doesn't measure up as much, but it's still a really pretty bronzer, and I do enjoy it. Okay, let's move on to creams. So first I want to talk about, jeez, these are so hard to open. Okay, first I want to talk about the Tower 28 bronzers. So originally they only had 2 shades. I believe now they have 4, which is great. And the shade that I have is West Coast, and this is a really, really pretty shade. And even with the additional shades that they've added to their range, I would still go with this one. This is really, really pretty. This one has shimmer in it. It is definitely not matte. It is very dewy, and it looks just gorgeous, like summer sun-kissed skin. I'm obsessed with these. Like, these are so good. And the way that they wear is nice. Like, if you like set it with a powder on top, it will still look dewy. It will still look really pretty, but it'll like last a lot longer if you do that. Cream products in general, if you set on top with a powder, it lasts a lot longer, but you can still get the dew, especially if you use a powder like the Kosas powder, which just like sets up really nice. But you can still get a dewy look to the face. Obsessed with it. This is really, really good. So pretty, like gorgeous, like summer. Oh, this is like my summer for sure cream one, because it has reflex in it and a little bit of shimmer, and it just is so gorgeous and dewy. Obsessed with this. Okay, next, last but not least, I want to talk about the Tarte cream bronzer. This is just the travel size, and like this will last me forever. They have full sizes, but like I would never use all of it because a little bit of this product goes a long way. So the shade that I wear in this is Seychelles, I believe it's called, and this is just gorgeous. If you've ever used the Chanel Soleil de Chanel, or I don't know if they changed the name now, but their cream bronzer, this is really nice and comparable to that for sure. Their shade range is more inclusive, and I actually like this one more than the Chanel bronzer, but if you've used that and you're a fan of that, you'll probably really enjoy this. The shade range again is more inclusive. I believe the Chanel one still only has 1 shade, which is absolutely banana nut insane, and like, what are you doing with your shade range? But I digress. This is a really, really nice comparable like bronzer to that. This is the lightest shade, Seychelles, and then they have 2 more shades, I believe. One that's like medium, and then one that's like truly deep dark, which is freaking gorgeous. This is really nice. I love this. This is a cream product specifically I wear like all year. I wouldn't just wear it in summer. I know a lot of cream products tend to be more summer products for people, but for me this is a great year-round product. A little bit of this goes a long way for me. And although this is the lightest shade, they could probably add a lighter shade because this can definitely look a little bit dark at times, even on me, depending on if I have a tan or not. But this is gorgeous. I actually really like this. And I actually really like their shade range. Like, I think it's nice that they're really inclusive. I think shade ranges can always expand and be more inclusive in terms of like undertones and stuff like that, like for all brands. But it's nice to see brands just having more shades, and even if they originally launched with only like 2 shades or something like that, that they're adding more makes me so happy to see. But this is such a good cream product. It like is a more matte finish. It just looks beautiful, and wears beautifully. I like to set this one too, and just so that it lasts longer on the face, especially if it's a day I'm not wearing face makeup, then setting cream products is important because it just like slips and slides even more when you're not wearing product underneath. Really like this. I'm a huge fan. Okay, now let's talk about my favorites in general. So I'm gonna go with like the one I'm grabbing the most because I don't necessarily have a favorite of all, but I have been grabbing the Ilia one the most, just to fluff all over my face. I love this. The Victoria Beckham is also really freaking pretty, and I'm obsessed with it. But you know, in terms of favorite, where I think like bang for your buck, I would go here. Like, this is definitely like just such a good product. I'm obsessed. The LYS Beauty one though too is just a top contender. Shade range here is like just cannot be outdone. Like, gorgeous shade range, wears beautifully on the face, lasts really long. And so in terms of mattes, I would probably say these 2 are my favorite right now. And that's it for this video. That's it for this clean beauty bronzer video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.